Welcome to the SportsBros podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scotty D, and your host, the head of creative Eddie Cool. The SportsBros podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the SportsBros. Oh, it's another fine and wonderful Tuesday up here in Northeast Ohio and everywhere around the world. Quick weather report. It's cold again. All right. We supposed to be spring, but that's neither here nor there. Sometimes you can tell it, sometimes you can't. With that being said, this is your boy Eddie Cool, the head of creative. Welcome to another episode of your favorite sports podcast, none other than the Sports Bros Podcast. And of course, it's March Madness. We're going to talk about that. But before we do that, I would like to be hospitable and introduce my co-hosts. Not just any co-host, but two of the best co-hosts in the world. Kind of like I'm Joe Burrow, and then like one guy's T. Higgins, the other guy's Jamar Chase. I'll let them figure that out, all right? One of them have to be a very light-skinned Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. But anyways, introducing first, all the way in Fairfield, North Carolina, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today?
Uh-oh.
First of all, let me get this out the way.
Okay.
The fact that one of us has to be Jamar Chase and the other one has to be T. Higgins, that's sort of convoluted because you know how much I am a big fan of my Clemson Tigers. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, of course, by default, that would make me a huge fan of T. Higgins. Unfortunately, in this setting that you've placed, this hypothetical setting that you've placed in front of us, T. Higgins is 1B and Jamar Chase is 1A and got the bigger paycheck. Now, when it comes to the Sports Bros podcast, of course, I earned a bigger paycheck when it comes to the talent on this podcast. So,
did you say you earned the biggest bar tab? Is that what you just said?
I can't stand you for real. God, I can't stand you. Well,
that's what I heard you say.
He always keeps one in the sheath.
You and the disrespect must end. First of all, shout out to my man Uncle Max. Again, I apologize for the disrespect from our colleague here. And yes, it's okay. His
surgery went pretty good, by the way, so that's a good
thing. Yes, I did see that, so I'm definitely very thankful for that.
Mm.
But back to my melancholy, my sadness when it comes to what's happening in the world today. Yes, there's madness. My bracket. Why did my team choose now to have the biggest? We'll just get into it. Introduce the other guy.
And the other guy, we're going to keep it short and sweet. He is the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania. None other than the one, the only, the money man, Scotty D.
Ooh, child, things are going to get easier.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Someday, oh, my bad.
Yeah. Keep in mind that you have a little bit of March heartbreak. My team did not get into the tournament. And as we go into baseball season, my team is the Pittsburgh Pirates. So one of us has some reason to be optimistic and happy. Mm-hmm. And that person's not me because the Pirates closer, David Bednar, was a guy who had troubles last year because his ERA went to up over 5. And so preseason, during the time to get it fixed, his ERA is 10 this year. Jared Jones, who was a very promising rookie pitcher last year, missed some time with injury, is now missing the end of spring because of soreness in the elbow, and we know what that usually leads to. So no optimism over here as a Bucco fan.
Did you just say you have a pitcher on your team named Jerry Jones?
Jared.
Jared. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought he said Jerry Jones too. I'm like,
yeah. Ooh,
If that was the case, I
really?
would have jumped off one of those Pittsburgh bridges a long time ago. Yeah. I can only handle one Jerry Jones in my life. But
oh,
anyway, March Madness is a topic. Oh yeah, and before we get in, I just want to congratulate Alex Ovechkin on becoming the NHL's all-time
he's not
goal
there
scorer.
yet.
Oh, okay.
He's,
All
he's
right.
7 away.
Well, March Madness it is, Eddie. Cool.
You know what, Scotty D? He wants to be the first to do it. He wants to be the first on
Right.
all the
Break.
podcasts, all the television shows, all the radio shows. Scotty
Isn't
D is going to be the first to do it.
isn't it close to the end of the season though? Isn't he running out of time here?
Yeah, he running out of time. Yeah, it's probably like what, maybe eight games left, if that. I know it's like a handful of games left in the NBA
Oh
regular
boy, am
season.
I going to have to be using this gimmick all summer? Anyway, March Madness, Eddie. Cool, March Madness.
You know, let's go ahead and hop right into it. The top of the order.
All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order.
With that being said, the madness has begun. Anyways, it's right here. It's going on right now. We got a lot going on, fellas, this past weekend. And like, as far as that goes, man, like, B Live, he's feeling some kind of way because, Clemson just
13 points. 13 points in the first half. 20 minutes of basketball.
Is that what they scored?
Yes.
Oh boy.
It was the worst basketball I've ever seen. We shot 1 for 17, I think, from 3-point. And we were the best 3-point shooting team in all of the ACC this year at 37%. And we just forgot how to shoot. We forgot how to dribble. We turned the ball over 12 times in the first half, and we clearly don't know how to guard anybody that might have a little bit of a handle and drive. McNeese State beat us on every single way of the ball for literally 37 minutes. And then the last 3 minutes, Clemson decided, now we'll decide to play back. It was so embarrassing to the point where a term that has died over the course of the years and everything because of the success of the entire athletic program when it comes to the Clemson Tigers. This term died, and they revitalized it. They really brought it back to life, and the term is Clemsoning. When a team is favored to win, has a good portion of success, and then when it comes to the big moments, we flop every single time. That was a term back in the early 2000s, and we basically swept it away around about 2012. And it's more about our football team than anything else. But we put that term to rest, and then single-handedly during this basketball game against McNeese State, we brought it right back. Brad Brownell, our coach, got a hefty 6-year extension and then showed up and decided, oh, shoot, I got paid. I don't really have to coach. Wow. It was embarrassing. I've never seen anything like it. Whew. My bad. I'm sorry.
All right, let's go ahead and get this thing back on the tracks. Most intriguing moments that you've seen thus far in the tournament. Scotty D, what you got?
Well, I would like to say to be live that it's probably a good part of yourself. A part of that is on you. It's your fault that Clemson thing happened. It's your fault. I as someone who reads the Bible, James 4:7 says, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up." Yet a couple weeks ago, you said, "Let Clemson win this championship, boy. You won't be able to talk to me. You won't be able to hear." You already were not humble, and Clemson hadn't even done anything yet. Is B-Life frozen? Did I freeze him?
Look at his face.
Did I freeze him completely?
Look at his face.
Are you completely?
Look at his face.
Humble yourselves before the Lord, and He will lift you up. And you were planning on bragging and being unbearable. That's not humility. So the Lord punished you by taking it out on your basketball team. And you got Dabo, and God likes Dabo, so He gave you a couple of football titles a few years back. But you pre-bragging on a team that had not gotten into the tournament yet. That's on you. So I'm gonna put that on you. Now back to your question, Eddie. Cool. What did I stand out to me in this tournament?
Yeah.
I really wanted to see, as I mentioned last
Did he
week,
quote a Bible verse?
St. John's
Did he go biblical
versus Arkansas, and we did get that game. We
Did,
got Calipari
did he
versus
really just
Pitino.
read the Bible to me?
I did.
He hit you with it.
Did he?
I know it's the first time you've heard it. They didn't. They weren't. It wasn't going around the bar on St. Patrick's Day last week. I know that wasn't happening. So I know you probably haven't heard that for quite some time.
Is he trying to put me in hell? I think he's questioning my Christian beliefs and my morality.
No,
all right, Scotty T.
I'm just getting you back on track. That's all. I'm just
All
getting
right,
you back
Scotty, what you found the most intriguing? Good God.
Well,
I'm gonna kill him.
You know,
St.
John's went into that game as a 2 seed, and then they shot 2 of 22 from 3-point range.
Oof.
And they did that.
Humble thyself before.
As Arkansas shot 2 of 19 from 3-point range.
So Scotty,
that game was a mess. That game was a mess. It was a fun, physical, fast-paced game, but those teams just couldn't shoot. So that was a mess. But another thing that
Scotty D, what was the total stat you gave us? Was it 4 for 41 between both teams?
4 for 41. Those teams shot from 3-point range. But two legendary coaches, they just said, just keep putting it up. Just keep shooting. 2 Hall of Fame coaches. just that's okay, guys. Just shoot. But something else that occurs to me here is if you look at the Sweet 16, boy, this has NIL written all over. Where are you, Cinderella? There is no Cinderella here this year. Other than one team, I can't think of a single big upset in this tournament. And we already talked about that team. But, I mean, honestly, there's been one buzzer beater, I believe. That was on Sunday night in the Maryland game. But and I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here because I always say I don't really care about Cinderella because they win the first round, ruin a bracket, and they take away like the really good teams that you want to see competing against one another. So now we have that. We have 16 big teams. I think BYU is probably like the small school, so to speak, and they are a viable contender. So it's the mid-major and the small schools. Boy, they got squeezed out of this tournament. Be live.
That is an absolute fact. There's only one double-digit seed in the Sweet 16, and it's number 10 Arkansas out of the SEC that puts 14 teams in, and now still have 7 teams in the Sweet 16. And Arkansas as a 10 seed might be I'm rooting for Arkansas. My man Stan, he's a fan of the program, very good friend of mine. We talk Clemson and Arkansas sports all the time. We were just very passionate about it. Scotty D, when I see you in public the next time, there will be furniture moving. The fact that you went to the Bible on me, and I understand my antics may be like over the top, but I mean we're an entertainment piece. It's not
humble yourself before the Lord.
And Eddie Cool, if you remotely come to that conclusion, your big head of yours, even put that in the title of our podcast. Me and you fighting too. So this was before you better think of something different. I mean, I profess that Lord Jesus Christ is my Savior, and but if you think about even trying to put a biblical title to this podcast to appease Scotty T, we gonna have issues, problems, and situations.
I'm not gonna do it. I got the title already. I'm not gonna do it.
But looking over the Sweet 16, there's the mid majors are just, and here's the thing about mid majors that you always sort of enjoy when it comes to March Madness is that these are guys that normally play together 3 or 4 years, but the transfer portal has picked these teams apart. Mm-hmm. Transfer portal, NIL, they're going to the bigger schools that have the fatter pockets. And it's clear and evident with this field of 68 now down to 16 teams because in certain instances, you still have small-ish schools. University of Houston, by any counts of the word, they're smaller in like stature school. Like they're only known for their basketball program,
Mm.
but I guess that sort of explains where they're at with it because Houston's been causing trouble for the longest time. Kentucky decides they still ain't missing a step. They're in the thick of things. Texas Tech, that might be one of the smaller schools in it, and they're in the state of Texas, so that's sort of BYU as Florida UConn.
Mm.
Could you have had a bigger matchup though?
Yeah, that was not. That was not.
The back defending national champions against arguably the best team in all of basketball right now.
Mhm.
Florida, the ones that won the SEC tournament, they're the SEC champions. They're the best of the 14 teams that made it to this tournament. Florida, UConn, and for it to come down, UConn having to leave for the majority of the time, man, madness is madness. It Cinderella is part of madness, and it's a little bit disappointing that we're not going to have that storyline. But it really isn't much of an argument as to every team that's here for the Sweet 16 deserve to be here. I may have misspoken. I guess Cooper Flag for Duke wasn't that hurt at all because he played it in the first game that Duke played, and Duke has been dominant.
Mm.
A lot of people pick Duke. I think they are the favorites when it comes to people picking their brackets and whatnot. So we shall see. Like I just my bet is still with Florida. My bet's still with Florida. I picked them again. We just opened up the second chance bracket with the Sweet 16 with the Sports Bros podcast, Sports Bros Madness Second Chance. The reason why I created it because I had Clemson in the national championship game losing to Florida, and so my bracket is completely busted.
I got Duke winning it all on my brackets.
Yeah,
See,
what was it? Jody Messina that said my give a damn is busted.
yeah.
Well, I just made a remix. My bracket is busted. Like, golly, boy, but it's okay. It's all right. Yeah.
Well, I didn't. I was unable to fill one out this year, and I'm so mad at myself because I've been so consumed. As soon as I've just started calling high school baseball for Trinity, and I was so focused on that last week that all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, the games are starting and I fill my brackets out. And but if you remember, I did pick last week my final four, which was Tennessee, Michigan State, Florida, and Duke, and I had Florida beating Duke in the final. But um,
All
I,
4 years.
I missed, yeah, but I missed out on the game watch, like the following from game to game to game, and all that stuff. That's usually such a good time with the brackets. But yeah, I mean, I like this. I like that these teams are all. I think it evens out the 16 a little bit more that these are the teams that are in there, because typically I don't buy it whenever a VCU or George Mason gets into the Sweet 16. And I'm giving you two examples of teams that actually made deep runs, not just the first weekend Cinderella story. But I typically don't buy that. And I'm like, well, then when they get into that next week, the new week starts again, and you have to try to rev that momentum back up again, and then you run into a number one seed Duke, and then you go home. And sometimes that happens, and where you get that Sweet 16, and they're not truly a threat to go beyond that. So I'm kind of contradicting myself because I love the Cinderella story, but I've always been a fan of watching the best teams get to the biggest game when it comes to this tournament, and I love this tournament. So it should be a fun watch this weekend. There are some very intriguing matchups coming in this week. I would love to see. Um, I very much look forward to seeing Kentucky and Tennessee going at it again. I think that's to see an SEC rematch like that. I think Florida's going to roll Maryland. I really do. I think that's going to be a wash. I do. I look forward to seeing Texas Tech and Arkansas. I didn't see Texas Tech play this year, but I've seen Arkansas play, and strangely enough, Calipari hasn't been to the Sweet 16 in like 7 years or something like that, whatever it was, and now he's there not with Kentucky, which is crazy. And Kentucky gets there without him to the Sweet 16. That's kind of intriguing. So a lot to be decided. I love it. I hope that I have more time this coming weekend to be able to spend watching the Sweet 16 and Elite Eight.
All right, so
you fill out your second chance bracket, Sweet 16, just to,
Okay.
when's the cutoff, be live?
It'll be Thursday morning. Thursday morning will be
Okay.
the cutoff because the games are that Thursday evening, whatnot. But yeah, I'm ready to go back to what you were about to say.
All right, so real quick, we got the matchups goes as follows, starting Thursday at 7:09. Number 6 BYU versus number 2 Alabama. Florida versus Maryland. Arizona versus Duke. We're gonna circle that one. Arkansas, Texas Tech. Ole Miss versus Michigan State. Kentucky versus Tennessee. We talked about that one earlier as well too. Michigan versus Auburn and Purdue versus Houston. So yeah, we got some big dogs in this matchup here, man. It's like you said, no more Silverado teams. Like you said, with the whole NIL and everything, it kind of, yeah, no more what George Masons, VCUs, Florida
Yeah.
Gulf Coast.
And did I hear that Xavier in Texas played in the first four game?
The first four.
Right. Xavier beat Texas, correct?
Yep.
And now Sean Miller is going to leave Xavier to go to Texas. Am I hearing that correctly?
Yeah, just stole my pepper point. That's cool.
Well, I'm a Pitt guy, and I would like a new coach, and I would like it to be Sean Miller because Sean Miller is a Pitt guy, and so that news kind of shook me to my core this morning. I didn't like hearing that. So.
Well, you took half of my pepper point, but we'll come back to that because I was definitely, and I'll fill it in anyway as it goes, whatnot. I will let you know. I'm gonna give you a precursor to my Sweet 16 bracket that I've already filled out because I just want to see it. There's sometimes, like I do try to be analytical in certain things and whatnot, but I want to see it, and I think the Midwest wants to see it because it is a very strong possibility, and this is my prediction that one of the 4 number 1 seeds is going down. I believe Michigan will beat Auburn. I just feel like Auburn, they lost 3 of their last 4 final games in the regular season. They didn't have a strong showing in the SEC tournament, and I feel like they're going to meet a number 5 Michigan team that really shouldn't be a number 5. Because if Michigan won the Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the Big Ten champions,
right? That's what we said last week. They should have been hired in a 5.
Way higher than 5.
So Auburn
and Broom has not played well, really.
So that's what I say, dude. I'm circling that one to be upset alert, and then I have Michigan State beating Ole Miss to where you have Michigan versus Michigan State in the Elite Eight.
That would be cool.
Man, the whole state of Michigan will be
cool.
On edge for that.
Yeah,
man. Oh man, it's madness, baby. Oh God, Clemson. Why? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just
all right. Before B Live
working through.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see, fellas. March Madness is here because we ain't talking about none of these other sports. They're kind of on the back burner because it's March. You know what time it is. Baseball. Did we have the international series happened 2 weeks ago? Some riff-raff like that, but we'll talk about that, at a later time. But
the regular season has already started, but it's still in spring training because I guess Los Angeles plays the Dodgers play somebody in Japan, so the Dodgers had a home game. And
pretty much, yeah.
A home game, yeah.
So yeah, I think they're already they swept. It was a 2-game series in Japan, but
against the Cubs.
Yeah, really. Yeah. I like, and the Cubs are in a big market, and you would think they have a good payroll, but I think the Dodgers are in the $1 billion range, and then 80% of it's deferred. So they're not even paying them yet.
Did you see the meme that went around about Jack White, the singer?
No, what happened?
Oh Lord!
He went to a game one of those games in Japan wearing his Cubs jersey,
Mm.
and in the seat next to him was Bill Murray.
Yep.
And then Bill Murray's at the final, or he's at the. This guy's everywhere. Bill Murray's everywhere.
Yeah. Bill
But
Murray,
yeah,
like,
what are the odds that he would be sitting next to Bill Murray? Like two celebrities go to Japan and they're sitting next to him. Like Bill Murray literally is everywhere.
Right.
he's literally everywhere. I'm like, man, what you doing here? What you doing here? Bill Murray is that uncle is at that age. He gonna be all over the place. Damn, we didn't know you were here. Did you call anybody? No, I just showed up.
That dude is enjoying life, I tell you.
Yeah.
Eddie Cool, I'm gonna pose a question for you so we can fill in just a little bit. How much have you watched the women's tournament?
None.
Uh, I've seen bits and pieces of it. Um, Juju Watkins.
How much
Uh,
of the women's tournament have you watched? Did you ask that?
Yeah.
I ask because Eddie Cool is like he watches women's basketball more than me and you do.
Oh, he
Because
watches box scores like everybody else.
he
Nobody's watching. Did you see all the empty seats?
Don't do that. The viewership for the women's tournament is up 3% from last year. So they have staying power. So but I'm going to pose this though.
Matter of fact, I got a question to post to you, Scotty D. Which one would you rather? If there was only two sporting events, you love this to be live. If there was only two sporting events on TV, Scotty D, and just two events only and two only, that's it. Which one would you watch? Week one of the UFL
Oof.
or the women's college basketball tournament? Which one? I got his ass be live. Which one?
It depends. Is Shawshank Redemption on the third channel?
No, you got no choice.
Okay.
If you had two channels, that was the only thing on TV.
UFL.
I'm watching the women's basketball.
All right, there we go.
I would watch that over UFL. Yes, I would.
So, the question I propose to you, because I've seen a couple of these games where I think South Carolina beat somebody by 60 points and UConn beat somebody by 70 points.
Yeah, we ran somebody out of the building. I forgot who. Tennessee Tech.
So it just disrespectful. Do you think that they should just go like the 48 teams as opposed to 64?
Nope.
Because that's why would you even embarrass a team like that? They had no business being there, et cetera, et cetera. That just
Hey man, you take that paycheck, take that nice little paycheck, it help out your university and your college and everything. So it's just
And I'm gonna pose another question just to make it interesting. Have you guys seen the quote unquote confrontation between Juju Watkins of USC and Jaden Daniels' mom?
First of all, yes, they need to stop. They need to stop because from my understanding, from what I've been seeing a lot of, that Juju and Jaden are related.
They're related?
I think that, yeah, from what I understand, they're related because I've been seeing a lot of that circle. Everybody, ooh, that'd be a nice little power couple. But I was like, no, they're related.
They're related, and that's a thing. Research.
I said, do your research real quick. All right, Scotty D is giving me a WTF head tilt. And with that being said, as I'm looking at my phone because I've yet to get a watch, guess what time it is?
Oh, here we go.
Scotty D, like, this ain't no damn TMZ. I'm glad you asked this time once again for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. And with that being said, yo, Button, hit it. Choices of the voices coming at you right here on the Sports Bros podcast. Scott was like, what is going on here? What is this? We'll be back.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and
ever so lovely Miss Button
for introducing our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices, where we ask y'all a question, y'all give us the answer, we talk about it right here, Sports Bros podcast. With that being said, Scotty D, what's on Tickety Tap, man?
Oh, we asked to tell us who you think was the greatest college basketball coach that you've seen during your lifetime. And we got a couple answers here. I missed my cue there. Sorry. Yeah, we got a couple good answers here.
Oh, that was funny. I'm leaving that in. That's funny as hell. All
Oh,
right.
well, like who else was he going to talk to?
I thought he was going to say something else, but he dangled it at me, and I didn't take the bait. So
It was a look on
yeah,
it was a look on his face. It's like, I'm like, that's you. Go, 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 go. Take it. All right, here we go.
greatest
All right.
college basketball coach. Eddie Cool.
All right. Well, Georgia, he says, my bias says Dean Smith. My unbiased says Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski.
Yeah. Will is a big Tar Heel fan, so
Okay.
he's lean. He likes to lean towards Dean, but he says, "Okay, Coach K."
Mm-hmm. Sergeant did that, Scotty D. Good one.
That was a good one.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Did you write that one down? I feel like you didn't come off. That didn't come off the dome.
Oh, I
Off the
think it
top of the
did.
dome.
Off the top of the dome. Yeah. Hey, because be like, he was daily with it. You remember that, all right?
Yeah,
All right. Sean Heineman, he says, where is Dean Smith? I guess you
the
refer to it.
pictures.
Sandy, yeah.
Pictures.
She's responding to the pictures, which I don't always put every candidate up. Obviously, I had in the pictures Jim Boeheim, Coach K, and Bobby Knight, 3 legends, all champions.
Good old chair Chuck and Bobby Knight. All right. Uncle Max, our Hall of Famer, on the road to recovery, is doing well after his surgery. He says it would have to be John Wooden, greatest of all time. And yes, I'm old enough to have seen him coach. We'll take your word for it.
10 titles for John Wooden, 10 national championships.
The disrespect from my colleague prompted that. Yes, that is just. This is how we treat our Hall of Famers.
I love Uncle Max.
we have say,
get well, Uncle Max. Get well.
Yeah, well, as you're on a hospital, well, when you were on a hospital bed, he had all the disrespect and all, and I was
no.
Wow, man can't even defend himself. He's under the knife.
Mm.
Well, I'll tell you what.
All right. Marcus James, aka the co-host of the Connoisseurs of Pro Wrestling podcast, he said Dean Smith with a bunch of exclamation points.
3 for Dean Smith.
Yep. Ooh, I like this one. It might be a homer pick, but I like this one. Stan Sagley, he says Nolan Richardson. Although after today, I got to say John Calipari as well and Tom Izzo too. Pick one. But he can't go wrong with that. Can't go wrong.
He is absolutely a homer pick. Like as I stated before, he's a diehard Arkansas fan, and so he when Calipari came into town, I was like, he was the first person I hit up. I'm like, yo,
yeah.
And then a couple of players came with them, and then but they had a disappointing SEC showing. I think they went like 6-16 or something like that. Or no, 6 and I got to pull it back up what their record was in the
better than
SEC.
South Carolina. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. I mean that's not hard to do. But dead last and still by obligation got a invite to the NIT. That's wild to me because they were the 2 best teams not selected to the big dance. There's only 2 teams left in the SEC. That's crazy to me. Yes, I'm still on that. But yes, Stan with the Arkansas love and then throwing out Tom Izzo. Hey, all of those are great picks. All of those are up there, the upper echelon of college coaches. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, B-Live, since you got the floor, shout out to Will, Sandy, Uncle Max, Marcus, and Stan for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. B-Live, best college basketball coach you ever seen. Who you got?
The best ever will go to Coach K. Respect to whom respect is due. I grew up a North Carolina basketball fan, but in the heart of right here in the low country of South Carolina, we had 2 choices: Clemson or South Carolina football, North Carolina or Duke in basketball. I mean, there was a little sprinkling of love for Wake Forest and NC State, but it was really the Duke North Carolina rivalry. And so, literally, watched Coach K coach for the majority of my life. And then you had Dean Smith and Roy Williams, which both of them had Hall of Fame careers with North Carolina, and also Roy Williams with Kansas. But Coach K took two arguably the greatest coaches of all time, and just handled his own, won championship, continued to rebuild, and then when the landscape was changing when it came to college athletics, and he implemented the whole one and done that Calipari did, and had a modicum of success with that. Um, Taking players like Kyrie Irving, Zion Williamson, and other likes, recruited at a high level, and transformed the way he coached the game. And now, because of Coach K's ability to adapt to it, Duke is still seeing that level of success. John Shire and where Duke is right now, arguably one of the favorites to win it all. That still isn't that's still attributed to Coach K. He's still winning in 2025. So I'm gonna give him that, but honorable mention, honorable mention, I'm gonna give that to Dan Hurley and what he's done at UConn. For them to be able to compete, to win back to back in this era is unheard of. There's way too much parity in college basketball for a team to win back to back. I think the last team to do it was Coach K's Duke team in 91 and 92. That shows you how was this
Florida did
Florida,
it in
Florida did it.
with
07, 08?
yeah, somewhere in there, yeah, with Billy
Okay,
Dolan.
yeah. But
But
still,
same thing, all their guys stayed the second year.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we just spoke of the parity of how college basketball is and the transfer portal and everything like that. But Duke still has that success. Coach K, John Shire, and it continues on. His legacy continues on. Coach K, like I said, Dan Hurley, one B,
Yeah,
for what he's done at UConn.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. 13 Final Fours, 15 ACC tournament championships. He won five national championships.
Yeah.
And John Wooden won more, but John Wooden won whenever it was more like the Y League. There was like eight teams competing for. They didn't have the big field like they do now. It was like regions, and then UCLA would just go take cream, and Bill Walton just gobble up everybody else in the country, and it wasn't like it is now. And and Coach K adapted because he started in 1980, and the game changed through the 80s, 90s, 2000s, all the way to 2022, and he was right there in the mix in his last year. And he was never my favorite. I guess I didn't like I never disliked him. I dislike a lot of Duke players. Like, I never could stand Danny Ferry and Christian Leitner and Bobby Hurley. I didn't like any of them cats. That wasn't a Woj. The guy used to smack the floor. I had a little run. I didn't like a lot of Duke players.
Was it Grayson Allen?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Oh,
The Tripper. I didn't like that dude at all. Yeah. Another one. Yeah, good. Yeah, good. So see, I never liked Duke. I always rooted against Coach K, but I respect him as a great coach. I would like to have said Tom Izzo, but he doesn't match up with this. And he's been there for a long time and had a lot of success, and I think he's one of the top coaches in the country. But
would it change if they won this year? Because they're right there.
No, it wouldn't overtake Coach K. It still wouldn't.
I got you.
But Izzo also, I think he has the disadvantage of trying to recruit kids to come to Michigan where it's cold. Where you go to the Carolinas, you got warm all year round, and it's a little bit of a different climate, different atmosphere. But having said that, I do believe with all my heart that Rick Pitino staying at Kentucky maybe changes this conversation. Because Rick Pitino then went to Louisville, won a championship, but he bounced around. He went to the NBA, he was with the Knicks, the Celtics. He bounced around from school to school, but he's taken 6 different schools now with St. John's into the tournament. And had he chosen, and it was never his desire, like Coach K, to stay rooted and do all that, but had that been his desire, I think Pitino staying at Kentucky would have rivaled Coach K, because I think the Kentucky brand in itself, with that great coach combined, would have won just the one title that he won there. They won 2 out of 3 in 96, 98, but the second one, Tubby Smith came in and won with Pitino's players. I think Rick Pitino staying at Kentucky would be in this conversation, but I do think it's Coach K.
And John Calipari just showed Rick Pitino, hey, I'm the premier former Kentucky coach.
Yeah, I mean, he did win that one head to head, but I just think Patino rooted all those years from the '90s to now. Man, I think Kentucky would have won a bunch of titles with Patino.
I never liked Calipari. I still don't necessarily, but I want my boy Stan to be happy. So, and Arkansas right now technically is that underdog right now at the 10 seed. That
Yeah.
is about as close to, and it's not a Cinderella story, but it'd be a good, it'd be a feel good. I don't have them winning it all. Like I don't see them getting past Florida. They might get past Texas Tech, but they might get past
Hey, you got Eddie Cool.
Florida.
So I had to we're talking about the greatest college basketball coaches of all time.
I am.
I want to talk about a gentleman that's coaching. Let's just say this. Let me read his credentials real quick. 11 times he took his team to the national championship and he won it. All right. He's the 8-time Naismith Coach of the Year, 9-time AP Coach of the Year. He's a John Wooden Legends Award winner in 2012, and he made the National Italian American Sports Hall of Fame in 2007. He's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. He got inducted in 2006, and the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Any guess what I'm talking about?
Gino.
No, REM.
Yep, the one, the only, the man himself, Luigi Gino Auriemma. This man has over 1,200 wins, and he's only lost 165 games in a damn near 40-year span. I mean, you're talking about like he's coached some of the greats as far as like Diana Taurasi, Rebecca Lobo, Paige Beckers, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, you name it. This man has literally done it all and shows no sign of slowing down. No sign of slowing down. It's like Gino has just had, other than Pat Summit and the other women's coach is blanking my mind right now. I mean, other than that, it's either been Gino or Pat, Gino, Gino and Pat, and so it's just been those two for like Kentucky and Tennessee. I'm not Kentucky, but Connecticut, UConn, and Tennessee having all those rivalries for so much long, and it's just yeah. And then the NCAA tournament, fellas, want to know his record?
A lot to a little.
Yeah, 138 wins and 24 losses.
Insanity.
That's wild. And
Eddie,
go ahead.
Eddie Cool, I want to apologize to you because when you were listing the accolades, I'm running through my head. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Scott said that you have seen, and I'm going through my head like, how many championships he won?
Gino, 11.
11.
I'm like, what men's basketball coaches won 11 championships that Eddie Cool is seeing? Because I was like, you sound like you were talking about what UCLA coach
John Wooden.
John Wooden, yeah. I'm like, wait, and then he said that John Wooden award. I'm like, wait, who is he talking about?
Yeah.
And then, very good answer.
Yeah.
Very good answer. And to include the women, because yeah, that is definitely upper echelon, greatest of all time when it comes to college basketball coaches. Sorry for me being small-minded, narrow-minded. Yes.
It's all good.
Gino Auriemma, that is an excellent answer. I applaud you for that, sir. Thank you. Yes.
Saw the first championship in 95, and then those handful of championships he ran off because they won 100 games between like 2013 to 2016.
Yeah, it was an insane run. And we're hard pressed. Will we see anything like that ever again? And I already know your default answer to that because you have a pretty decent coach.
She do a little something. She got about 3 4 things. You know what I'm saying? Just being modest, but think about it, he had
I'm trying to get him to not be humble like I wasn't last week.
I'm going to look.
God's watching your answer right here, Eddie Cole.
Listen. I'm gonna tell you.
He's listening.
It's a girl out west named Juju, and another girl out west. Her last name is Betts, and her hands as big as mine. I'm kind of Hey, B Live, I had to hit the pay attention. Okay, yeah, you girls, all right, okay, I see you. And you can't forget, you can't forget about Gino and UConn as well too. So you got to think about. Listen, he won 28 conference tournaments championships, 20 in the Big East, and 7 in the American Athletic Conferences, and 20 the man just went. You got to think about it. He had 2 3-peats, one from 2002 to 2004. And then once again, 2013, 2016. If you ask me, I don't think he's done. He just turned. He's 71 years old. I don't think he's done. I do not think he's done. With that being said, that does it for another edition of Choices of the Voices. Scotty D, what's on tap for next week?
This one actually, speaking of off the top of my head, this one just kind of I just came up with as this episode was coming on. So we were on the topic. What do you like better? Do you like the Cinderella Sweet 16? Or do you like this? What we have all like top echelon tier teams playing out and kind of leveling the playing field, evening things out, making it difficult for the number ones to get through. What do you like better? We'll talk about that next week. Sweet 16 with the Cinderellas or the Blue Bloods. That'll give us something to talk about next week, Eddie. Cool.
All right. With that being said, be live. Get to grabbing that pepper grinder. It's time for a round of pepper. Coming up right here on Sports Bros Podcast.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, y'all heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style. Kind of, sort of, not really. Here to educate, enlighten, entertain. And I forgot the fourth E. I had a brain fart. But you know what? 3 out of 4 ain't bad, which means I'm shooting.
Exercise. That was the other E.
Yes.
Exercise.
Yeah.
Here to exercise.
Yeah, and
entertain.
Yeah, exercise and like it. Anyways, y'all know what the hell I mean. 200 plus episodes, you know what I'm talking about. With that being said, I'll go first. Scotty D, you love this one. On this day in history, back in 1937, it is revealed that Quaker Oats pays Babe Ruth $25,000 per year for ads.
25,000. I would take that right now.
I sure would.
Yeah. I know that would be dramatically underpaying Shohei, but I would be happy to take it.
Yeah, I'll take it too. Yeah. So shout out to the Babe. Babe was getting his money way back then. Pushing on Quaker Oats. Push them Quaker Oats.
Stacking bills on Quaker Oats.
Yep. Over to you, Scotty D. I want some oatmeal.
Well, we talk about some of the greatest upsets in the history of sports. This one is probably not going to go. You probably won't list this one over Buster Douglas knocking out Mike Tyson or any of those other major upsets we've seen in the Jets in the Super Bowl over the Colts, Super Bowl III. But this one was a stunner, and this one was in the NCAA Wrestling Heavyweight Championship this past weekend when Gable Stevenson of Minnesota lost with 13 seconds to go, giving up a reversal to Wyatt Hendrickson of Oklahoma State to take the title. Gable Stevenson is a guy who has not actually been in school for a couple of years, but had a year of eligibility. In the meantime, he's not only did he win titles before, he won Olympic gold. He tried out for football. He was spent a little time in development with WWE, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
This guy was somewhat of a celebrity to go out and he said, I wanted to bring one more championship back to Minnesota. He went out and with 13 seconds to go, he gave up a late takedown. And Oklahoma State's Wyatt Hendrickson is the Buster Douglas of the college wrestling championship. Hey, Gable Stevenson's going to be okay. Wyatt Hendrickson, boy, salute to you. You just changed your life, my friend. Congratulations. Be live. Over to you.
Scotty D over there added syllables to people's name. Gable Stevenson.
Oh, no, Stevenson.
But trust me, I
thought there was a misprint. I thought there was a misprint. I thought they forgot to put the N in there.
No, I've made that mistake like 57 times. I was like, you know what? Let me just look it up real quick.
You know, that's dumb. That's dumb.
It should be Stevenson.
That's dumb. Put an N in there where it belongs.
Just over here disrespecting family lineage.
Yes.
Cool.
I am doing that. Yes.
All right. So we've been talking a little bit about my man Stan and Arkansas and Calipari, John Calipari, and what they're doing.
Who's Bill? Go ahead, be
Yeah,
live.
John Calipari. I corrected myself. I was like, that ain't it. That is not his name. John Calipari and their run in this tournament, making it to the Sweet 16, beating Hall of Fame coaches, one Bill Self and Rick Pitino, to make it to the Sweet 16. Now, when it comes to Bill Self, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, but he's had a couple of missteps, especially when it comes to the Kansas program. Because Kansas this year, they became the second AP preseason #1 team to lose in the first round of the men's NCAA tournament. They became the second team to do so. You know who the first team was?
Ooh, I know.
Ooh.
Go for
Kansas.
it was Kansas. They did it again, being the preseason #1 team. Bill Self does it again. They did it back in 2005. 20 years later, they repeat history, being the AP preseason #1 team to lose in the first round. Preseason rankings are a joke, but it gives us something to talk about. Eddie Cool, the ball.
Wait till you
Yep.
get to the January trade deadline that's going to be coming up in college basketball.
And speaking of college basketball, great segue, Scotty D. Over 200 players have entered the men's college basketball transfer portal.
Wow.
That thing is wide open than a dude that met a girl for the first time and he in love with her, but he only met her 2 days ago. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. So some of these names include Mackenzie Mgbako of Indiana, Michigan guard Justin Pippen, Howard guard Blake Harper, Providence forward Bryce Hopkins, who entered the transfer portal with a don't contact tag. Weird. Miami guard Jaleel Bethea and Iowa guard Josh Dix. He also enters the transfer portal after their coach get dismissed. And his teammate Owen Freeman, he also enters the transfer portal with a do not contact tag.
What does that even mean?
Don't call me, we'll call you, I
I,
guess.
I guess it's like, okay, well, why do you want to be in the transfer portal if you don't want to talk to nobody? Don't make sense. But yeah, college sports between canceling spring games and now this where we at now. Over to you, B-Lab. Over to you, Scotty D.
All right. We talked about, we're going to talk about now the purity that is college sports. And we talked about the women's game a little bit ago. I want to share this one with you. So a friend of mine, his daughter graduated from Trinity High School 2 years ago where I work. And she has now just completed her second year at NYU. And she has not lost yet playing for NYU Division III women's basketball. They just completed their second consecutive undefeated season, going 31-0. NYU beating Smith in the finals for the second year in a row, and they crushed them. The closest game NYU had this year, twice a team got within 19 points of them on the final score. They have just rolled over people like 1990 UNLV, and I just want to say, man, congratulations. I mean, what's it like to land at NYU and join the basketball team and then just not lose? This girl is 62-0. Eden Williamson, a friend, my friend Mike Williamson's daughter. So congratulations to her and to the NYU women's basketball team for that repeat. Be live, over to you.
That is an incredible pepper point, and she just entered the transfer portal and is getting a new NIL. She'll be at South Carolina.
She has a no contact tag. Be like,
Yeah, she has no contact.
Just come on, bro.
Eddie Cool, did you mention a Michigan player? Was that basketball transfer portal or?
Yeah, all that was basketball.
And they're still playing?
That's what I'm saying. Michigan's still playing.
Maybe he left the team before earlier in the season or something.
Yeah, there's one guy that got hurt from Iowa. One guy that got he left because his coach got fired. It's weird. It's weird.
There was one story about a guy that they had just lost in the tournament, and 18 minutes later, he didn't even make it back to the team bus. He was already in a transfer portal. What are we doing here?
Mom was sitting there with her finger on the send button.
God.
Whenever you're ready, baby, just give me the signal. You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Boy.
Well, Scotty D, remember second, this is my second pepper point. Scotty D, remember I told you that you stole my pepper point? You stole half of my pepper point when it came to
Sean Miller.
yeah, Xavier beating Texas in the first four. Texas fires Coach Rodney Terry Sunday in the AM, Sunday in the PM. Texas hires Xavier's head coach Sean Miller. Pull the so he can't beat him.
Join them.
He ready to grab their coach. Little Kevin Durant situation. But that was only one half of my pepper point. Because back in 2018, do you remember a number one seed by the name of the Virginia Cavaliers?
Yeah, they won it that year.
No.
They lost to a 16 that year.
Yes.
I'm
They
sorry.
won it the year after.
Next year, yeah.
Okay.
But 2018, they lost to University of Maryland. I believe it's Baltimore County.
Mm-hmm.
UMBC.
UMBC.
You want to take a wild guess as to who the coach of UMBC was in 2018? Probably don't. He goes by the name of Ryan Odom, who was just introduced in 2025 as the new head coach of the Virginia Cavaliers.
Oh, wow.
I'll be down.
Yes. Oh man, we live
Stayed on the radar. He stayed on the radar.
We live in a circle, and now Ryan Odom, after arguably the biggest loss the biggest upset in March Madness history, now joins the team that he beat.
Has he been with that team all that time?
I ain't do that much research. I saw the graphic, and I was like, that's a pepper point. And then I was gonna tie.
Usually, when you win that game, you move up a level. If you're a 16 and you beat a 1, somebody's coming for you usually.
Let me see while Eddie cooled the ball, and I'll see if I can see how he progressed.
All right. Third and final pepper point. On this day in history, back in 1982, be live, that was a great year, 1982. Wayne Gretzky becomes the first player in the NHL to score 200 points in a season. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of goals.
That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of assists. Wayne Gretzky, 200 points. Has that record been checked? No, I don't think nobody's touched the record ever since, have they? Or somebody's come close?
No, but Ovechkin just beat his all-time goals scored record.
Oh, okay. There we go.
7 away. Seven away.
Congratulations, Ovechkin. Congratulations.
With 12 games to go, the Washington Capitals have 12 games to go.
Okay, Better get busy.
You're right. Yeah.
Over to you, Scotty D.
All right, so this one made me a little bit sad, but Around the Horn is being canceled from ESPN.
Oh, man.
23 seasons of Around the Horn. I always thought it was kind of the little brother to Pardon the Interruption. That was like the bigger one waiting in the wings, and Around the Horn was kind of the fluffer, as they say in the business.
Yeah.
But Around the Horn with Tony Reale. It started off. Remember who the first host was?
Max Kellerman?
It was Max Kellerman. Yeah. He didn't last too long on there. He went on to do other things, but Tony Reale, who they called Stat Boy on Around the Horn, he moved over and took over that show. And I haven't watched it faithfully, but I've always put it on from time to time. And that show leaves a gap on ESPN. SportsBros, anyone? Be Live. Over to you.
Oh, man, they got a 30-minute spot for us. We could do 30 it in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, 30 minutes. That's right. We're out.
We need more like Pat McAfee hours. But
maybe Eddie and I could do it in half an hour.
Right, before I go to my third and final, shut up. And before I go to my third and final pepper point, Ryan Odom coached UMBC until 2021. He was their coach from 2016 to 2021. Coached Utah State 2021 to 23, VCU 23 to 25.
Okay.
So yeah, he's been a head coach, but yeah, he stayed at UMBC for a couple years after that, and then as little steps, and yeah, Virginia ACC, ACC's terrible. All right, third and final pepper point. Speaking of the ACC, and changes and all kinds of things. I'm just going to go back to college football and just the University of North Carolina, the Tar Heels football program, being led by one Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick has quite the approach when it comes to sports coaching, et cetera, being a collegiate coach now. But there's one thing that he has grown accustomed to the fact that he's an old man. And there's certain things that may elude him
Ugh.
when it comes to just language and technology and such. Well,
Snap face.
certain things, whatever. But he's got a little bit of help
Yeah.
when it comes to handling his emails from anybody within the North Carolina organization, the school and everything like that, where he has emailed everyone in the staff that anytime they send him an email, they need to CC one particular person.
That little minky that's on the red carpet with him.
Absolutely. He
Mhm.
sent an email to the entire University of North Carolina athletic staff telling them that if they're to email him, also CC his 24-year-old girlfriend. This is where we're at in the world of college athletics. He said, I'm not trying to read all these emails. I'm going to have my girlfriend do it. 50 years his junior. Oh, God. What really? Really?
Hey man, Bill said, "Look here, Bill said, look here, you want to
Standing
earn your keep?"
ovation, Bill. Standing
Bill,
ovation.
Bill said, "Look here, you want to earn your keep? I got to put you on the payroll, baby. I got to put you on the payroll. I love your butts."
I criticize him for being overrated, and I take it all back. You are brilliant.
Wow.
All emails go to his girlfriend. Hey, cool. We're done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Until next week. What the
I would like to try that. And then in closing, do something nice for yourself, like Bill Belichick's girlfriend, or do something nice for someone else. They'll greatly appreciate it now more than ever. Be a blessing, not a burden. Uh, yeah. I'm gonna see this episode. So be live. Bye. Sports Bros Podcast. Take us on Be Live. I'm the hell up out of here. This is insane.
Yes, sir.
I got nothing. I messed up my gimmick. This old Bill Belichick, man.
Every single time I'm gonna get you with the third pepper point. I don't play around. I don't play games with this.
Yeah, you told me up. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching, reviewing, rating. Also, rest in peace to George Foreman. He passed
Oh
away this
man,
weekend. Two-time world heavyweight champion. Hit him with that rope a dope, Thriller Manila, and
I'm about to hit up that George Foreman grill right now after this episode.
yeah, George Foreman. We just want to say we love you. We're gonna miss you and thank you. All right, and we out.
Hey, it's Eddie Cool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.